My name is Paulette Brown. My location is complex. I am an African through the Caribbean to Canada on indigenous lands. For many years here, I've been a pastor in the Presbyterian Church in Canada. I've been also a community worker, and I've done my good share of house cleaning and working in the factories. It's part of what it means to be a new immigrant woman to this country. I've been there, done that. I am into my retirement, and I smile because it's more of a gift than I thought it would have been. I just tumbled into retirement when I was offered a position at Martin Luther University College in Waterloo to teach 2 courses, and it was just like a gift to me. So now I'm their adjunct faculty teaching 2 Bible courses on decolonizing work and New Testament and critical biblical studies. I co-mothered with my mother. So all my little brothers and sisters, you know, they're mine. I remember, I remember when I took my younger brother, he was like some months old, and things were rough in Kingston. I'm from Jamaica. Things were rough, and my mother had decided to send him to the country to my grandmother so that she could just make life work. I was given my little brother now to take on the country bus to go to the country, and they would come and meet me. I wasn't even in high school. So anyway, I remember carrying him on the bus, and everybody on the bus, you know, Jamaican people, she's a young girl and they think he's my baby, and they think all sorts of things that, you know, she's a bad girl kind of thing. I learned that I had to do some walking that was not of my making. And at the end of the day, it takes its toll. It makes you overtly responsible for everything around you. It's been a long journey to really even think about peace and what it means, let alone to think about what it means within. But at this point in my life, I find time to just be, honestly, to just be. I think the routine of Friday, Saturday, Sunday morning, we're getting ready for church, has really just been ripped away. It has given me a space to start to think differently about peace. This year, what I'm living in, the time space, is time enough to love. I say that about peace because unless you can really figure out how this love thing works, that peace for me comes from having figured that out. Peace is really finding that time in my busy schedules, that time to love. What it means to love is another story, but it's finding the time to love. It's not just myself, which I'm still learning how to love myself well, but it's to love myself and love others. I was always fascinated with how the ancestors, the women on the slave plantation, how they functioned and how they use their faith. And I claim my complicated Christian heritage. I know how it came about from the Middle Passage right through. And I often wondered, how did these women do it? And then I figured that they must have found a way to do it. And if they can do it, then I'm going to have to do it. I do a lot of reading and that stuff. So I just got to the place where I know that some things will not look good for some people, but I'm going to have to do it anyway. I'm going to have to decide that this is not what I'm going to take on. I find reading is so good for me, especially in my early days, because when I read, I reflect a lot. I reframe everything that I read, I reposition them, and I make a new theory out of them. And I realized that it was just natural for me to do that. I think reading, knowing my heritage, know the kind of ancestor woman from the slave plantation, and I'm saying, girlfriend, if you can do it, because if you never do it, I wouldn't be here. But if you can do it, I'm gonna have to find a way to do it. And it is challenging, but it can never ever be as challenging as you. So I think it's just imagine worst case scenario and work yourself from there, because it is challenging. I learned how I love silence then. I love silence more than I thought. I love to be alone. But I know that you cannot be alone all the time. But then I learned to say, you know what? I need a little bit of aloneness. So that just is time alone and knowing that I have these folks, these women who have done it before, it helps me to deal with the complicated challenges of being in this country, having been through this church and still in this church, raising my children and being in a marriage. Before you start this journey of peace, you need to know where you're coming from. Do not disengage with your own historical heritage, because in that mix of madness and sin, there's something that you need to live as an embodied person. I think you need to know where you're coming from. You don't have to know all of it at once, but develop an appetite to know it. Because in that mix of where you're coming from, there's a lot of mistakes that they did, but there's some kind of wisdom. Just kind of stick to it, even that helps you to carry on, that I believe you need. So I think know where you're coming from. You need to have an understanding, a kind of spiritual, religious understanding that keeps you. It's not even grounded, it just keeps you. Because groundedness is so much work, it just needs to keep you. And as I said, for me, my spiritual connectedness with how those women did it. They were reproducers of slavery with their womb, and they were producers and doing their work. How did they do it? So I do a lot of reading about that. And sometimes you need to do a little research, because sometimes we think that we're going on a spiritual journey, you don't need to use the head. You need to do that research. We have to learn to take a crooked stick and lick a ball with a straight lick. So a crooked stick to do a straight lick is not easy. I think we learned that from some of our ancestors, mistakes, whatever, we learned that. In order to get to this peace is hard work. I would not like to hear people going on this journey to peace and it's all about themselves. It's what I need to be away from everybody. I need to this, it's me time, blah, blah. Yes, it is me time. But I think we were not created to be individuals. We're created in communities. So I think we need to find the balance, know what's happening. Oh, what's going on downtown Toronto? What's that happening at Regent Park? What really happened in Etobicoke last week? What they mean by this and that? I think we need to be connected to others. I need to be connected. But do I allow them to overwhelm me? No, because I learned that I'm not the only person that God or the divine is going to use to help to this. So, know where you're coming from. Don't be afraid of it. Learn the wisdom of taking a crooked stick and make a straight lick. And don't be disconnected from community. Get your time, but don't be disconnected, please, because you're going to be transformed into something else which is not of peace. Never you take these religious traditions as if there's nothing to be reframed from them. Never you take them to feel that you cannot rethink them. So my journey right now is to help people to rethink those traditions, to reframe those traditions, to speak about those traditions from the perspective of what is just, and to decide that you're not going to perpetuate any kind of nonsense. I'm doing a lot of walk on the back, and when I walk now, I love yellow flowers. So when I walk with my camera, and one time I would walk with my camera to listen to music as I'm going, no more. I see these, like the other day I saw one single yellow plant, and I said, hey, you're alone. I said, that's me, girl. I said, that's me, girl. We love it. I just started to talk to them. I said, well, you find it here? Leave those people alone. Be yourself, blah, blah, blah. So I'm beginning to have a different appreciation for nature. I was brought up in the country, so that's all just coming back. And I'm doing a lot of waters, rivers. And I do planting outside. So my girlfriend, Aina-Nia, called me up or text me up and tell me that she have callaloo for me. I'm a Jamaican and I love callaloo. So I have 4 sets of callaloo. All right? I went shopping and I bought a whole tray and I saved these 2 for my friend. And then when I got home, I got a text from my friend that she went callaloo shopping and she bought 2 she saved it for me. So I said, you know what, bring me your 2 callaloo and I'm going to give you my 2 callaloo. I am trying to live a different life. And gifting is not just for the sake of I pass on something for you. In order for me to think about giving my friend the callaloo, there's more thought about it. It's a process. It's a whole heap of storytelling. Why is it that I choose her? Now, if she's going to bring me something, why am I going to disrupt my story and kill my story and say, all right, no bother, me have already. So you just said, no. We're gonna exchange the stories, because in the passing of these 2, and when I plant her callaloo, I'm planting stories of love and respect and just a sense of being there in a journey. I'm planting all of those. And when I eat it, then I'm eating some of that too. And we talk about spiritual energy and food. For me, this is part of a spiritual continuum that happens all the time. If we allow the capitalistic way of doing things to say, okay, oh, it's so sad that you bought because I bought enough, that would disrupt it. I'm not going to do that. She's going to take mine and I'll take hers. And the story continues.